Okay, I believe we're live. Welcome back to Stream of Thoughts. Where, well, I don't. I've already said, well, my thoughts are streamed. Pretty obvious from the title, I'd assume. Anyway, this time, big surprise of what I want to talk about, since I wasn't planning on talking about it, is, well, the Nintendo Direct Mini. It's, well, I just did a gaming announcement video, and I kind of didn't want to do it again, but lo and behold, Nintendo's dropping a whole load of surprises, and so there's a lot I want to talk about. And share what I know and what I love about games, really. So I figured that this would help out with that as well. So without further ado, I guess let's talk about it. And this time around, just talk about the general things I'm interested in, rather than go through every single thing. Since I know there are some things that are interesting. I know people loved Battle Network, Mega Man, the release of the re-release of Mega Man Battle Network as a collection, but I'm not well too aware of it. Although although the gameplay does remind me of, it was an indie game. I can't remember what it was. That had similar gameplay of moving through kind of a tile-based system and attacking kind of kind of in a rhythmic fashion, but not quite. Anyways, so let's see. The first thing I wanted to talk about was Nier Automata on Switch. Which, wow, they started off strong. I mean, I know that Nier Automata was well, very uh very popular game. Yeah, popular would be the right word for it. And well, it's mine as well, just for the concept of its kind of bringing philosophy into video games, and I really enjoyed that. And so, with its appearance on Switch, which, well, it's been on Xbox for a little bit, but started off on PlayStation, I'm glad that it kindly finally gets to, go onto a platform of Nintendo so that, it can be accessible to a greater audience. And there are some things that, you might want to do. I said three times straight, didn't I? Where you want to do things just handheld, just relax for a bit. So it's good to see that go on board. Just seeing one of my favorite games just appear on a Nintendo platform, or well, in more platforms, pleases me. I'm really happy that they got to do that. And now the big dream is to see if they get Replicant, if they get Replicant in, or if we're really ambitious, see if they get Gestalt in. But that's for another day, for another time, or perhaps a time that doesn't exist. But speaking of things, I guess I don't need to do things in a tongue tied here. In a chronological order. Guess we'll talk about the last announcement as well, because they ended in a bang as well. And it's the Persona series, or at least 345. Still don't know what happened to 2 and 1. I don't know the story behind that, and I would like to know at some point in time. That, they're coming to the Switch as well as their full complete versions. And so, once again, we literally just talked about how it's coming out to Xbox and PC for, I believe, as part of Xbox's online service. And so I'm glad that it actually gets to come out on the Switch, well, for the same reasons, access to more people and things like that. And, well, I wouldn't call, well, like most people, I'd imagine most people, I kind of fell in love with, well, not fell in love, a bit too heavy of a view. I like Persona 5. and royal. Bit too long for my taste, but I'm glad that people get more access to that. But well, I guess a lot of games I like recently have been coming out to Switch. So Automata, Persona, and 13 Sentinels, which I talked about last time and failed to talk about correctly. Hopefully that's not the case this time. Anyways, so yeah, a really solid, satisfying month or year for me. But I guess that's it for that. I'm glad that people have more access to it, especially since I know people praise Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden, I should say. Not sure about 4 itself. So you know, well, I guess more people will also have access to older generations of things, so that's also a great thing to be proud of. Next up, I guess I could bundle these in a set. For kind of the sprinkling of indie games that they announced, because, well, even they were powerful contenders, things that I really liked about them. And they all kind of focused on this artistic style that they had behind them. And so, I guess chronologically, we had Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Quite interesting. I feel like, well, I didn't really see much that it did for the genre of puzzle adventure that did. But I do kind of like that kind of dark and purple aesthetic that it did have and how it presented itself as. Can't really think of a game that really pulled off that style or had a similar style to it. And so that's definitely a game that, I look forward to visually. Not much, I don't think has been done too much on the puzzle side of things. Although visuals did intrigue me. Similarly, well, I've already mentioned that all the indie games I've been interested in because of their artistic style is Blanc, which, interesting game. It feels like, once again, puzzle adventure games, perhaps well, they're all story focused, but anyways, about the deer and the fox. Fox or wolf? I can't remember. It's been a little bit. However, that kind of black and white style and kind of having kind of that snow style, kind of, I say style. I just keep wanting to say style, but that's exactly what drew me in. Perhaps it's, well, I'm not really too much of an artistic viewer or, well, no, the artistic lingo, but uh, the way it was done, well, just kind of impressed me and what they wanted to do with just minimal coloring and, how they want to tell the story in that way. Quite interesting how things revert back to black and white when we have access to colors. It kind of puts in a statement of, you know, or puts in a statement of kind of simplicity, but also that, well, need for having more colors. It shows it that this story doesn't need it, perhaps. So definitely one I look forward to seeing. I do wonder if it's actually if it's story guided or no. It doesn't seem like a two-player based game. Although it does feel like it would also fit that style. But anyway, and on to the third one, which uh honestly drew me in the most was The Legend of Wright. Uh, interesting one. Kind of kind of remind me of the Plucky Squire, which was just announced recently. But kind of that drawing, yeah, that drawing book style, a game based on a book. Wait, I should rephrase. I can't really phrase correctly. a video game on kind of creating a story in a book, kind of in a comic style. And so in the game, it looks like you have to use kind of real life tools in order to kind of create your story. Definitely kind of puts in a blend of the Plucky Squire and I feel like Scribblenauts for me, where it's a book-based adventure. It's a story adventure, a literal story, not like narrative. But that kind of book, conceptual book coming out or interacting with the real world. And while I guess I could draw comparisons, the Plucky Squire is kind of this fictional character coming into the real world. Here we kind of had the real world coming into storybook character. And so it'd be fun to kind of observe how these two games kind of play, how they play, how they play it, I guess would be the way I would say it. And so because both concepts, I feel they have a lot of things that can be done, and well, a lot of creative things that could be done. And we're dealing with two mediums, well, two sources of mediums kind of interacting with each other, being the book and being a game. So it does intrigue me in seeing how well these things will play out. Now then, that aside, let's get into some other announcements. Let's see. Yes, there's one. Up next on the list, Super Bomberman R2. I'm not sure on the success of Super Bomberman R and how well they went, especially with the concept of being a free-to-play game, being an open battle arena, things like that. I kind of wonder on the success of that. I remember trying it out a few weeks ago now, and seeing that something was empty, or they're way too full, that I couldn't get in. Couldn't tell which one. But anyways, Bomberman is kind of one of those fun party games that, I don't know, it's an old school game, but it really feels like a fun party game that should really come to light. Because it's just fun. And seeing how it does its custom modes and maps is gonna be interesting to see, especially it's gonna be interesting to see how people will mess around with that and just create maps. So it'd be interesting to see already. Yeah, I can't wait to see what it becomes, especially since it kind of came. Ooh, I want to say. I don't know how long it's been since R. Feels like it's been last year, but I feel like it's been somewhere between the 2 and 4 year time span, somewhere around there. Speaking of time span, guess we could talk about this now. Guess some of the odder games I want to talk about, and that is Return to Monkey Island and Return to Pac-Land. I put on my notes, and wow, Monkey Island. I know that's a well-loved game. I believe a point-and-click adventure game. Well remembered as well, I guess I should say. And so I'm excited to actually see that come out as someone who hasn't experienced it. I've mentioned this with Persona 4 Golden, but we have newer generations that kind of get to experience this. Especially in a time where technology is involved and the concept of point and click doesn't really exist anymore. It'll be fun to see. See it brought back, I guess, and see how it fares with the modern audiences. That's gonna be interesting to see. Kind of just statistically speaking. But then on the contrary, Pac-Land, I guess. It's again a weird one. This one felt like a weird one to bring back. I haven't heard anything of it, but if they're remaking it, I guess there was an audience for it. But seeing it remade in different styles, I know it has kind of, I guess, I know it's primarily a platformer, a 3D platformer, but seeing its non 3D platformer elements like racing, I mean, seeing how it, I guess you could update it, see how it, well, make it better than what it was in the past. But still, I don't know, a really odd one. I haven't really heard people talk about it or praise it. So once again, interesting to see. And interesting to see kind of the thought process of, well, why they bring it back. Of course, there are likely details that I'm missing. But yeah, speaking of things that I'm kind of weirded out about, uh, kind of, well, kind of the two big hitters, I guess, are with, I guess, Sega and Ubisoft. Sonic Frontiers and the Return of the Rabbids. We've, well, not sure if we discussed the Rabbids here on the channel, but there are some intriguing thoughts there. But Sonic Frontiers first. So once again, I guess this is the embrace the 3D open world kind of phase of gaming. And Sonic Frontiers, I don't know. I mean, I guess from my, I guess I should probably state my position as to where I am in terms of Sonic fan, being a Sonic fan, and I'm kind of okay with it. I mean, play it if I can. Maybe skip a couple. Love the music. That's pretty much it. And so with Sonic Frontiers being kind of this 3D Element 1 game, I don't really know how it would feel. I mean, the whole shtick of Sonic is being fast, but it feels like a lot of it is generally feels too, I guess, combat focused, or yeah, there's not really anything that feels too fun to run around in. I'm really iffy and hesitant about, well, 3D, well, the jump from Sonic going to open world 3D. I definitely feel that, you know, Sonic's kind of in that that very unstable, fragile spot where, people are already talking about, is Sonic a game that's worth it, or like, when when is Sonic good? I feel like it's important that before they make the jump to, you know, create whatever they seek to create, or going as ambitious as an open world Sonic game, I feel like they need to find what makes, well, kind of learn and harness what makes Sonic, well, enjoyable for most people, since, well, you can't please everyone. But I don't know, I feel like it's a bit too soon to actually start experimenting and making the jump. But who knows? We'll see how that fares. And on a related note, they made another Mario and Rabbids game. Well, they are making one. I really don't know about this. I guess on my experience of this, I did. Uh, I mean, I played a little bit of the Rabbids franchise as a very long while ago, but And then I also played the first one. And honestly, for me, it felt like it. I feel like it should have been a one and done thing. Where, it was really cute, it was fun, it was enjoyable. A weird shooter game that. Well, XCOM shooter game that. Well, it was a fun experiment, is what I'd call it. But enough to warrant a sequel is one that. I mean, I know sequel culture is kind of just a thing that's happening in this day and age. Where, you want to make sequels of everything because it went so well. Although second, second iterations of anything I feel, don't often do well. Not do well, but are less enjoyed than the first iteration. But anyways, uh, although I am glad, I should say, in how they're developing and changing their combat system, and it'll be interesting to see how tactics work. And, well, yeah, how tactics work and see that kind of. Yeah, I guess evolve would be. Ooh, I'm not sure if I want to say evolve because it feels like the. Rather than evolved, it feels like it changed. And so, tactics that worked kind of in the first game kind of are. Yeah. I feel like they're kind of a bit wasted. I feel like I'm speaking too negatively on this, but I did enjoy the first game and what it did. But, well, I guess there's only one way to find out to see how they plan to do the sequel. And, well, what they plan on changing, what their next big step is. Because I still don't see this thing actually happening. Rabbits were just a Rayman thing. Were they a Rayman thing? Were they before Rayman? Well, even so. Well, they aren't even a Rayman thing as well. From how I know it, they're a Rayman thing, then they became their own separate entity, and then they became attached to Mario. Really, they're just. Ooh. Who are they gonna come for next? The real question. But no. We'll see what happens. I'm in the mentality of why, but watching from a distance, I guess would be the best way to put it. Ah, I think that's just about everything I wanted to talk about, going through the list. Oh, a whole lot of farming simulators. Or just a whole lot of farming in general. Oh hey, if you really like farming games, I guess there's that as well. Let's see. No, I can't think of any. Those kind of slipped by my mind. Not really too interested in those, although I get the appeal. But I don't know, there's not much I feel I could add. Not really a agriculturalist. But yeah, that has been, I guess, everything I wanted to say in terms of the stream of thoughts. Where the streams are thought of. No, the thoughts have been streamed. Yeah. Hopefully, you know. Hopefully this was enlightening, I guess? I don't know what I want to do with this. It's not quite entertaining, it's not quite enlightening. Guess it's just me sharing my thoughts on the internet. So really, hope you've ascertained some form of information from that. And I'll hopefully next time on Stream of Thoughts we'll. Oh, I don't really talk about next time, but I can't think of anything next time. So we'll see each other same time, Same time next week. Yeah, that's a good way to end it. Sure, why not?